Hey there. So anyone who missed our Quinnipiac University info session in the School of Education last evening, I wanted to do a quick recording of our presentation about our Master's of Science in Instructional Design and Technology program. I'm Kristen Bergalt. This is my 12th year working at Quinnipiac. I am faculty in the Instructional Design Program. I actually helped build and design the program along with Professor Ruth Schwartz. And I'm currently serving as the interim director of the program, which is why I'm giving this presentation this evening. So many of our students come to us already knowing what instructional design is or currently working in the field, but we also have a big portion of our population who's never heard of instructional design before they kind of got started digging around into a potential master's degree. So I just want to really quickly go over what instructional design is. It is a systematic process. So it's a process that we use to identify a learning need and then develop a solution for that learning need. So it has a long history. It's not something that just was newly created, and it's not only rooted in technology. It is a process for developing instruction, any kind of instruction, face-to-face instruction, online instruction, any format of instruction. It combines both science and art. So in the instructional design program, we look at cognitive science as well as learning science to better understand how people learn. And we're going to use evidence and research in order to back up our design decisions. And we also look at design theory, visual design theory, graphic design, multimedia theory, and best practices in using design in instruction. And then we infuse that with the intentional incorporation of technology. So it's not solely focused on technology. Instructional design can exist without technology. But in our program, since technology is such a big part of what so many of us do, and it's such a big part of our lives these days, obviously our program is highly focused on technology. We look at multimedia, how multimedia can be used to educate others, as well as lots of trends in emerging technology, AI, VR, AR, all those types of things. And we build competence in our students with those design programs, technology design programs. So what does instructional design look like at Quinnipiac? We refer to our program as the IDN program, the Instructional Design Program. And our program really focuses on learner-centered design. We are always working to understand our learners, to build empathy and develop learner personas. That's a big part of what we do in our program, and everything that we do in our program, the things that we design is focused on helping learners to learn. We look at both traditional and modern instructional design approaches. So you'll learn about things like ADDIE, which you may have heard about if you're in the field or if you've dabbled kind of poking around to learn about the field. ADDIE is a model that is used quite often in instructional design and upon which many different newer models have been developed. And we also look at modern approaches such as the design thinking approach. Again, we talk about technology, we talk about it all the time, but we always talk about it where appropriate, where it makes sense. And we approach technology with a critical eye and really try to think, is this technology going to benefit our learners? And we look at it in that way. In that vein, we stay informed about new tools, best practices, and we're always updating our courses based on what we know about what's happening in the field. Our program, I think something that makes it really unique is that we combine theory and practice into real world projects. So we are heavily, deeply rooted in theory. We are going to give you the theory behind the design decisions that instructional designers make. But we also look at what instructional design looks like in the real world, and we put it into practice. We put that theory into practice by working on real world projects. Most of those projects are things that we're going to have you kind of go out into the world and find. You can absolutely work on things in this program that will be relevant to your workplace and that you can turn around and use in your own teaching or training the very next day. And we also have some courses where we assign real world projects that come kind of from the outside and that we will give to our students in order to develop an understanding of projects that are kind of outside of your interests. And our program always is focused on curiosity, experimentation, and play. We encourage our students to really dig into the things that they love, further explore things that interest them, and really learn through experimentation and trying things out and trying to push your own boundaries of what you are capable of doing. We have many faculty who work in the program. Myself and Professor Schwartz developed this program many years ago, and we are the full-time faculty who work at Quinnipiac full-time as professors. We also have a handful of adjunct faculty, and these adjuncts bring in their real-world experience as they're currently working as educators, as teachers, as professors, as instructional designers, as directors of instructional design out in the field. So they are living the instructional design life and they bring that back into their classroom teaching. And where do our graduates work? So we have about a third of our students come to us from K-12 backgrounds, a third come from higher education, and a third come from corporate or business environments. And after they graduate, our graduates work in all different sectors. We have lots of people who go out to work in universities, people who continue working in K-12 schools, just with an added understanding of integrating technology and instructional design practices into their teaching. We have people working in businesses, museums, and a lot of people from healthcare who go into either patient training, public health, or nurse or healthcare practitioner education. And they have all kinds of roles. They take on all kinds of roles at all kinds of levels in the instructional design field. Our program is 100% online. It's an asynchronous program, which means that there's no requirement for you to log on and meet with us specifically at a specific time. It's designed to be flexible to meet the needs of working adults. Our courses are offered through Canvas, which is a learning management system. We have a lot of additional tools that we build into Canvas to make that a really engaging learning environment. Our program is 30 credits, which is a total of 10 courses. We also offer a 3-course or 9-credit certificate in instructional design if you're not ready to commit to the full master's. We offer courses year-round, and we accept students every semester. So we have a fall and spring traditional semester, which are 14 weeks long, and a slightly shorter summer semester, a little bit more laid back at just 12 weeks, with about a week to 2 weeks in between each semester, and a little bit longer of a winter break from about mid-December to mid-January. The coursework in our program starts with the Foundations course, which introduces you to instructional design as a field and a practice. We have 2 required courses in learning theory and cognitive science, and 2 courses in hands-on multimedia design and collaboration. We also conclude the program with either a capstone or an internship. You will have your choice of which you want to do in order to complete your program. And then in between all of that, you will pick your electives, and our electives are often focused on specific technologies such as web design or video production, but we also have courses in accessibility and looking at emerging technology. This is kind of a general map of the flow of how things happen in our program. When you come in, we have a self-paced online student orientation to help people get up to speed with how to learn online and how to think about going back to graduate school. You start with the foundations course. Everybody starts in there unless you're starting in the summer, and then you will start on a slightly different pathway. And you will have your required courses. Pick your electives based on your interest. You'll be assigned an advisor in the program who will help you make sure that you are picking the courses that are going to fit with your career goals. And then finally, a culminating experience. And again, you can choose between either a capstone or an internship. Some people have a preconceived idea of what it's like to learn online. It is not the isolating, sitting alone at your computer experience that you might imagine. Of course, there is a lot of time sitting alone at your computer when you're taking an online course, but we work really hard to build up our community of students. We also provide content in multiple formats. It's not just going to be reading and writing, but we have a lot of video. We provide podcasts, lectures, and activities meant to engage you in the learning experience and not just passively sit there at the computer. We use discussions to help you connect with peers. These can be both text-based discussions. We also use a lot of video discussion tools to give you a little bit more of that experience of connecting with other learners. And we also have lots of presentations led by our instructors, and we have webinars in the evenings once a month or so where we come together around topics in instructional design. That's an opportunity to get beyond just who's in your course and to kind of work with learn with others throughout the program, either current students or alumni. And how do we prepare our students for professional success? So, as you come into the program, our faculty really work to get to know you personally. We try to understand where you're coming from, what your background is, and where you want to go with this degree, what the goal is that you have set out for yourself of using this degree. And so we look at where you're at, and we obviously move you forward in your understanding of instructional design and all of the skills that are needed to be successful in this field. We work on resumes and offer mock interviews for students who are interested in changing positions. And we have a portfolio throughout the program. So you start that in your very first course. And then each course after that, the faculty will help you identify work that is going to best represent your skills and your interests, and prepare a portfolio that is reviewed at the very end of the program before we launch you out with your degree. We have a supportive community of students, faculty, and alumni. We have a Facebook group, we have a LinkedIn group where people share jobs, answer questions, and develop a sense of community even after you have graduated from the program. So that is our program at Quinnipiac University, the Masters of Instructional Design and Technology program. I hope that this presentation was helpful in understanding the overall format of the program, the types of things you'll be learning, and the type of community that we offer. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at Kristen.Bergault at quinnipiac.edu. Thanks so much.